and welcome to Go Southern Alberta. My name's Leanne Evans. Today we're in one of 3 community gardens here in Medicine Hat, and later on in the show I'll be talking to Rob and Jennifer about some gardening tips and also about the edible forest that's located here at the community garden. We have that and lots more coming up on Go Southern Alberta.
Becomes a social outing that makes exercise fun, and the people that are here are really good, and the people that help us, and it's fun.
And it's a simple skill that we often neglect. We want to make sure we nurture our hand-eye coordination.
Welcome back to Go Southern Alberta. We're down in the community gardens and I'm talking to Rob Gardner. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Well, thanks, Leanne, for having me here.
Now, why don't we start off by telling me a little bit about the community gardens?
Well, the community garden is kind of a fun concept. It's a chance for people that may not have a lot of space in their own yard to get together and rent a small garden to grow mainly vegetables, but some people do grow flowers as well. And in the Sheldon Miller garden here, we have 36 people and families that are all sharing the space and growing their own food.
Gardening is one of my favorite things to do once spring comes, but this also allows people to come through and get some ideas for their own garden.
Well, that's right. This summer we have what we're calling a learning garden, where we're trying some different activities, different techniques for growing vegetables. And certainly the public is welcome to come by, chat with the gardeners that are here, and please stay on the pathways. And of course, don't take any of the vegetables. But it's a chance to learn some new techniques and see if they really work.
Now, what are some of the techniques that you're seeing here at the community gardens?
Well, one that I've used for a number of years is called a floating row cover. It's a piece of fabric that you can put over plants, especially in the cabbage family, that are really plagued with cabbage butterflies and the caterpillars they create. This row cover keeps the bugs off and keeps the plant shaded a little bit. And they grow really well with no chemicals at all.
I'm also seeing these like cone-like things.
Yeah, these tubes of plastic are called walls of water. And there are actually a group of tubes that all have water in them, and we put them around tomatoes. One of our gardeners planted his tomatoes in the middle of April, well before the last frost. And with these tubes around them, his tomatoes came right through with no problems at all. So it gives everybody a 3 or 4 week jump on the season. And you can imagine he's going to have many, many more tomatoes by the fall.
And another idea that we've seen is a box for everything to go into.
Yeah, cold frames have been around for quite a while, and that's the term. They say cold frame, although it's actually warmer than the rest of the garden. It's cold in that there's no source of heat in it, other than the solar energy coming in. And so this box just protects the young seedlings and warms up the soil a bit, and again, you can get better growth much earlier.
Now, these are just a few ideas that are here at the community gardens, and it's open for anybody to come and walk through. Now, why do you love gardening so much?
Well, I started gardening quite a few years ago when I first got married, and I guess what I like about it, for a start, is the taste. In those days, you just couldn't get good corn or good tomatoes, and the potatoes are so much better. You can grow interesting plants, like you can grow purple potatoes that we have here, purple on the inside, not the outside. And you can grow purple carrots if you want to. So you can get a very colorful potato salad. It's just fun I think it's fun to watch things grow out of the ground and then eat them. I think it's important that people, for their self-confidence, just be able to grow their own food. And we're the only animal in the world that many of our species can't grow their own food. So I think that when people do it, it gives them a feeling of self-confidence that they can do something, get some results, and that carries on to other parts of their lives too.
I know that when I see my garden growing, I get really excited. So it does boost your self-confidence. I agree with you.
That's right.
All right, so how can people find out more information about this community garden?
Well, the easiest way is to call the Community Health General Switchboard, and that listing is in the front of the phone book and in the Health Region phone numbers, and they can pass you on to a staff person that handles community gardens and work your way over to me eventually.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay, well, thanks for having me on your show.
All right, well, we have lots more coming up on the show. Later on, we'll be talking to Jennifer. She's going to be telling us about the edible forest that's also included in the community gardens. We have that and lots more coming up on Shaw TV. Welcome back to Go Southern Alberta. We are sitting in the edible forest garden here at the community gardens. Jen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Now, why don't you tell me a little bit about the edible forest garden?
Sure. The whole concept of an edible forest garden is that forest ecosystems generally, no one goes in and waters them, and no one goes and weeds a forest, and no one goes and sprays a forest, and so it's an ecosystem that functions really well all by itself. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to try and create a forest ecosystem, except instead use entirely edibles inside it, from apples and plums and fruits and berries all the way to different vegetables and beans and all sorts of foods and even mushrooms.
I love this idea. This is the first year that this edible forest has come together, right?
That's right, yeah.
Now, why do you think it's important to have something like this?
Well, I think that it's really important in our, just for food security, to have different ways of gardening. And I also think that it's really important to try and find different ways that it's easier to garden and ways to be able to for all different types of people to garden.
Now, this is also going to be a very low maintenance forest as well.
Yeah, the whole concept is that this forest garden should be less and less work as the years progress, because when we planned it, it produces not only food, but it produces its own fertilizer. It as all the leaves and the different mulch and the different things drop down, that creates its own fertilizer. It also has its own insect systems. So we've incorporated different areas in which all sorts of beneficial insects and different pollinators can live. And so these insects are essentially going to be our pest control. And different things should start filling out, so there should be fewer and fewer weeds as well. And we've also sheet mulched this in a way that we have different layers within the ground so that the weeds should not come up as well while it's filling in.
So it sounds like there was a lot of design that went into this.
Yes. Yeah, we've been planning this for probably about half a year to a year.
Now, once things start to grow, the apples on the trees, can anybody in the community come out and check this out?
Yeah, we'd love to welcome anyone to come through, and if you're interested in any of the plants or any of the actual system itself, we've just started to create a permaculture guild in which we are actually trying to create these sorts of systems in different people's backyards and in different parts of the city. If you're interested in the plants, we also know where to get them all. And yes, you're welcome to pick an apple or two. Please don't pick everything, because it's meant for everyone to share. And we're also trying to create some different educational programs and we're working with different schools in order to make different parts of this garden educational programs.
I think this is a great idea. Now, where is the garden located, and how can people find it?
So the garden is actually a part of the Dunmore Sheldon Miller Friendship Community Garden, and it's right behind the Palliser Health Unit by the Boston Pizza and Taco Time.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks very much.
All right, well, we have lots more coming up on Go Southern Alberta, so stay tuned right here on Shaw TV. Well, in about 6 to 8 weeks, so end of July, this garden will be full of lush green vegetables. So excited to see what that looks like. Thanks to Rob and Jen for telling us all about the community gardens and the edible forest. For more information on anything that we have been covering, we are on Facebook at Shaw TV Medicine Hat, also on Twitter at Shaw TV The Hat. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time right here on Go Southern Alberta. Hey, we're standing in one of the... Today we are at the coming up on Go Southern Alberta.